Well, she kept you alive this weekend. You would tell them about that story.
What story?
That you had certain medication that you required and
staying alive. You're thinking of John Travolta.
Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry, I got my notes wrong.
Yeah, I always get mixed up with John Travolta. I'm a type 2 diabetic, and I got on the plane in San Francisco, and I had 2 lovely new aluminum canisters with my medication in there. And while I was flying across the country, I just said, I better give myself a little stab. You know, it's not a big needle, just a and I put the thing back, and I left the canisters on the seat. When the plane landed, I leapt off the plane. Had to get off of it for me. Anyway, I get here, and I realize I don't have my insulin. I'm going to be here for a few days. So I said it to the gang, you know, my handlers, and Ron says, I'll take care of it. I said, no, you don't understand. It's a prescription. I'll handle it. Get to the convention. I come over, sit down. 2 hours later, he comes in with a bag with my insulin. He had called my pharmacy. There he is, my hero. Give him a round of applause.
Hey! Good job. He called your connection?
That's right. He handed me the pen, said, first one's free.
I was gonna say, I left a bag of weed on my plane.
I was on the same plane. And your weed's not there anymore.
That's why you got so happy when I saw you. All right, this is a great time.
Are my eyes red? A little bit.
That's why you're the munchies. I think hungry.
I'm backpacked at lunch.
Talk amongst yourselves. We're going to have a...
I want to start with Terry. You've been doing this a long time. You have. I looked at your IMDb. I mean, you were like on every sitcom and TV show in the 70s and 80s. From
Well,
like
it was a lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
No, I did a lot. I did a lot of sitcoms. I really enjoyed that. That was a good job because once you got cast, you showed up on Monday morning and sat at a table with the writers and the stars of the show, and you did that every day. And every day you got new pages, and you watched your part get smaller and smaller. And there's only one page left. Don't complain. But I liked it. I really liked it a lot. And then Friday night you get to shoot, and my older son was just a baby then, so I always got to come out when we took our vows. Had him in my arms. It was great fun. Yeah, I loved it. I've been very, very lucky.
So you have to tell us some of the shows.
Oh, Jefferson's.
Oh. You were the white guy. I remember you now. I know that dude.
Sherman and I were like that.
Right? Okay, yeah.
Everything in Paramount, Mork and Mindy.
Three's Company.
Three's Company.
You did After MASH.
Company twice.
Really?
And I finally got to do my favorite show was MASH. I love the movie. I love the television series, and I knew the guys who created it, Kenny Isaacs and I forget the other guy's name. But anyway, they were from the Bay Area where I'm from, and they used to listen to me on radio. And I go for an audition and say, "Terry, how you doing?" Nothing. Good part. So finally, after that closed, they started After MASH. And I did get a part on that, but all those guys weren't in it. Those guys weren't in it anymore. The only one that was in that was Harry Morgan, the Colonel. And so I was lucky. I was busy. And then after I was there for a few years, I do voices, and I said I should be doing some animation. And agents sent me to Hanna-Barbera and Disney and so on and so forth. And I got the part. I'll tell you real quick how the Launchpad thing happened.
Please.
Any actors in here, please pay attention. I don't have much good advice for you, but this is a good. If you're going to be an actor and go to auditions, learn how to read upside down, so that you can walk by people's desks and glance at what's there. And that's what happened. I went to Voice Casters, this casting place, and I had an audition for something that was like 3 words. Ooh, it's good. And I had driven, 4 hours in traffic, and I said, this is ridiculous. And then I see a stack of scripts that says Disney actors. And I go over and give it the old once over, and it says, to this character, because they'll tell you what the voice is like, a similarity, you know. And it says, a cross between John Ratzenberger from Cheers and Jack Burns, who you might not, he replaced Don Knotts in Andy of Mayberry. Remember that? How you doing? Yep. Oh, yeah. Andy Griffith hated it. How do I get him to stop that? So anyway, I called my agent and I said, I'm all the way over here in Burbank. And I did that dumb audition. And they're casting a Disney cartoon show. He said, Terry, you're new in town. I said, come on. Call Bob and ask him if I can just squeeze in for one.
Bob Lloyd was the
Bob Lloyd, yeah.
of the voice caster.
And I said, and if you don't do it, I will hold my breath until I explode. And that snapped him into action. So he called Bob Lloyd. Bob was very gracious. He said, all right, go ahead. There was a little lull and things. And I went in and I did that voice. I mean, because I knew exactly what they meant by that. And boom, so for once I was on the nose. I nailed it.
Yeah, man, yeah, you did.
You did?
Many that you don't.
To this day.
True.
Yeah. And so that's how I got it. And the cool thing about it was I got to meet with the staff, the animators, and the producers, and we sat down, we had a couple of meetings where we talked about how he would walk and what he might do. So they were trying to get ideas about the physicality of the character, because we were working from the ground up, actually inventing the Disney character. And that was really a trip.
Nice.
Really a trip.
Can I hear a little, just for me?
It's going to cost.
But can you do it while you're walking? And chew gum?
All right, DW. You're getting kind of wise over here.
Excellent work, Launchpad. Jimmy.
You sound just like him.
Well,
I get that a lot.
I hung
Oh
out
my
with
God,
him for
you
years.
sound just like him.
Yeah, just like him. Oh my God. Jimmy, you do not have a face for radio. This is a handsome guy. These beautiful blue eyes. Do you ever have any on-camera aspirations? You ever try your hand at that?
No
desire?
No. I was in Comic Book the Movie
He's a musician.
as myself.
Yes.
And I played a drunken a-hole. I don't know why. But yeah, that was me. Remember?
I remember.
Aren't you a drummer?
Oh yeah.
He's a musician.
Yeah.
Starting
Well,
with-
yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. I was a singer and a drummer.
And you were in Louisiana, you designed floats for Mardi Gras?
Yeah, I designed Mardi Gras floats for Comus, Momus, Proteus, and Olympia. Let's hear it for Comus, Momus. Anyway. No,
Louisiana in the house?
Yeah, a little Mardi Gras in the house. And then I was a deckhand on a riverboat for a couple, for a year and a half. Yes, it was, yeah, that's right. And that's where, but it was cool because I got Leatherhead, just for the record. Anybody see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Cartoon? Well, there was a Cajun alligator in there. And I just did his name was Léonce Leblon. He was from out there in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Oh, he had the Cajun accent.
And he was from there, yeah. And I just thought, well, that sounds crazy. And they said they needed a Cajun alligator. And I went, I got one.
I just happened to have one with me.
Yeah, and so I did that, and then I got that gig.
That's outstanding. And then it paid off later in Princess and the Frog.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true, the Raymond.
That's right.
Because you know the women like a man with a big back coat. Yeah, you're right. We pass a good time down there like that.
You're right, Bob.
And anything that slithers or falls into the water or digs a hole or flies over you and poops, they go, you see that boy? That's good eating right there. That's good eating, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to say that's a true
I
story.
played an alligator, far less popular than famous. And it was in a show by Deke called Kissy Fur. Do you remember
Oh, yeah.
that?
Kissy Fur. Yeah.
Anybody remember that show?
Sure.
And I played a female alligator named Jolie.
He's miming it. He's just breaking in. He's breaking into the business.
And Jolene's voice went like this.
Well, oh my, I'm so I'm glad to see you.
One of those voices that you
A Harvard guy.
After 4 lines, you can't speak anymore.
Oh, jeez.
The screamers.
And you didn't want to, so it was okay.
My girlfriend's from Louisiana. When we met, I'm like, no, you're not. Talk like a real Louisianan. Like I thought, but like your skipper. I thought that's how they all talk. Her parents are a little bit like instead of first, this is foist. There's a little flavor to it.
And it's kind of a Boston, New York flavor to it.
Yeah, it's got a little Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Okay. Tell me, what was it like? Did you guys work as an ensemble when you did Darkwing Duck?
One show.
What? Really?
I think it was the first show.
I moved to San Francisco.
Oh man.
God, that explains a lot.
Moved back home, and Ginny McSwain, I think, was directing us. Ginny.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd already been cast. He was a popular character, so they couldn't switch me out. And so I would go to Coast Recorders down on Mission Street in San Francisco once a week, and there was my script, and they had the microphone set exactly as they were in Burbank. And there was no what they call Source Connect now. You could just do it directly. Instead, you did a phone patch, and a phone patch was you're simply talking into a tape recorder, and the director's on the phone directing you. And then when you're finished, it goes into the FedEx package, and so then I splice it all together. And I really missed being ensemble because the DuckTales was the craziest group of people ever. Those are the cast. They're just wonderful.
Hello. Oh, hello. I'll hold it for you if you want.
He's going to weld it to your...
This is my son, Patty.
I'm promoted. I was honorary nephew. No, I'm a son. Yeah. I'm a real boy.
You're moving up.
We've had our troubles with him, but
I know, Father. I'm trying to do it.
good to see you, Patty. Thank you.
Wait, just I'll be on the side.
Okay, I'll talk into it.
But we talk about this like later. I need to, before you wrap up, I just want to sing his praises because he's in my favorite movie of all time. We'll talk about it later.
Okay,
Let's make sure we talk about his podcast too.
Yes. We'll talk about my podcast.
Yes.
You mean Tuned In with Jim Cummings?
Let's just talk about it right now.
Is that the one?
You had Shazam on your show and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. I can remember their names. Ron Perlman and
Sure.
and-
Oh yeah, a lot of people.
yes. And how long have you been doing that?
A couple months now. Huh?
It's an on-camera thing. It's an on-camera audio thing.
Yes.
Great conversations. What's the basis of your like? Why are you like? I'll do a podcast.
Well, you know, it's it just came to us one day that apparently everybody and their congressman has a podcast, and I thought, well, okay, time for mine. And I get a lot of my friends that I made throughout the years on the podcast, and you know, just different people on camera, off camera, and we occasionally channel, you know, spirits. And
Yes.
No. And it's just a lot of fun. But I hope you can tune in. And it's on Spotify, tuned in. What is it? On all the formats. Yeah. Anyway.
All the platforms.
The platforms.
Yeah.
There you go.
Check it out. Just make sure you subscribe, and also it helps to you know, give it a little star rating. It helps.
Yes.
But you're already number 5 in the country, from what I
Number
understand.
5 in the country.
Yes.
It's not so bad.
What?
Yeah. In the country, yeah. Yeah. Shooting for the universe, but
Speaking of 5, this is something I always wondered about, because there was a time you were like on all 5 Disney afternoon shows at once. And I'm like, or did they, at one point, they just give it to you, or are you auditioning like, yeah, we'll just take Jim again? I mean, like, why bother auditioning anyone else, just use Jim? You know? Because you were like Darkwing, Bob Christie, Bobcat. Were you marsupial?
I was, yeah. I wasn't marsupial. I wasn't marsupilami, but I was the giant ape. Typecast again. But I was in every single show on the Disney Afternoon.
Outstanding.
And 2 of them were I was the title character. Can you name them? Oh, that's good. And Bunkers. Come on, Bunkers, the Bobcat. The first 2 detectives. Yeah, but anyway, that's how we talk.
Amazing. But you read for all those.
Sure. Oh yeah.
That's convincing.
I read for them, and probably at the Voice Caster.
I remember seeing at the Voice Galleries in Burbank, and I think the furniture is still the same from the 70s.
It is.
But they would have everyone's audition reel, which is a real, like tape reel.
Yeah.
Like a square, and I always see Jimmy's with your beautiful John Stamos hair at the time. I was like, one day, I get to look at that guy.
Yeah, there you go.
And I mean, this machine can run itself. You don't need me here. But are there any questions, burning desires you want from these gentlemen? Yes, young lady.
So, this is for Jim. You got me kind of into Winnie the Pooh a lot after I saw Christopher Robin. And Winnie the Pooh was like, it was hard not to fall for him. He's just so cute. What's the difference between playing like live action, because I know it's still voice, versus like the animated? And also, I have my phone ready, if you could please do like a little thing of Winnie the Pooh's voice.
Well, the difference between live action and just regular Saturday morning is money. I guess I'm allowed to say that. But yeah.
And no makeup.
And no makeup. Yeah, they both require no makeup. But yeah, that's true. And what did you want me to do?
A little bit of the Winnie the Pooh voice.
I'm sorry, but I won't be able to do that without a smackerel of honey.
You want to do it now? You want to do it now?
Sure, I think.
So we're gonna challenge Jim to do every single voice
Let
that
you
he's
read
done.
them.
How do you want me to do? You want me to read the name?
Yeah, read the name and then maybe I'll remember it and everything. That'll be fun. I think.
Let's go down this whole list and do like the rapid fire.
Sure.
All right, get ready for it. Do you mind if people record this?
Oh God, yes. Please do.
All right, here we go. This is Jim's entire
This is
career.
the lightning round.
Right now, okay. All right, we start with Winnie the Pooh.
Would you please pass the honey?
Tigger.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I gotta go bouncing.
Ray.
Well, you know the women love a man with a big back porch.
Dr. Robotnik.
Oh, you must be a friend of Snivelly's.
Taz. Darkwing.
I am the terror that flaps in the night, but you knew that.
Ka.
A trust in me.
Hondo.
Well. You must be a friend of Skywalker. Here, let me hold your wallet.
Cheshire Cat.
The Cheshire Cat is Winnie the Pooh on acid.
Pete the Cat.
Well, how you doing there, buddy? Say hello to the booth for me.
Lord Boxman.
Lord Boxman, where are you going with that? Okay, I'm going to get you.
Chief Powhatan.
As the river cuts his path, though the river's proud and strong, you'll have to pay for more.
Bonkers, Steve Bobcat. He was the first toon detective that was ever in the Hollywood, the toon division of Toontown, and he was in California and Bonkers, and he had a lot to say.
Shredder.
Better get those turtles.
Monterey Jack.
Well, I don't know. First I'd have to have a slice of cheese.
Baloo.
Hey, come on there, little butches. Let's get going.
Cat Dog.
Oh, no, cat. A dog. No, I don't want.
Razul. Pass.
Jafar has no. I'm very sorry, princess. You will have to take it up with Jafar.
Yeah, nailed it. Scar.
Be prepared. Bad guys have to laugh at the end of their song.
Ghostbuster.
Well, if the something strange in your neighborhood,
Evangeline.
look out, she lights up the sky.
Fuzzy Lumpkins. Fuzzy Lumpkins.
Fuzzy Lumpkins in the everything. I can't understand the thing you say.
Smokey the Bear.
Remember, only you can prevent Forrest Whitaker.
Ed from the Lion King.
Okay.
Tantor from Tarzan.
Tantor. I like a peanut. Tarzan enjoys a peanut. Maybe he could be an elephant.
From The Mask, Doyle.
Oh, Doyle. Hey, hi, huh? I'm the smart one on the show.
Psycho from Earthworm Jim.
Psycho! What's the Earthworm Jim? He drives me crazy. Up a wall, that's where.
And from Animaniacs, Buddy.
Oh, damn. Anybody remember Buddy? I don't either.
Pass.
Peggy wrote it down. Mario wrote it down. I'm like, he'll never remember this one. You know?
Rasputin from Anastasia.
Oh, yes. Hold on now. I want to get it. Let me get the song in my head. Oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah, let me come back to him in a minute.
Okay, how about Featherstone from Nomeo?
Oh, Featherstone. He was my favorite guy. I love him, Hank. He was from Cuba, I think.
Steady as the beating drums.
Oh, that's power.
Yes, Chef Pischetti. Chef Pischetti.
Chef Pischetti. It's like I said to Giorgio. Giorgio, don't eat my meatball.
We're not here. King Triton.
Oh, King Triton, yes.
Okay.
I know there's like 1,000 more, but that's everything that was on the list.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we're there. Right.
The Mel Blanc of today. Yeah. Only one I can even think of it.
Okay, now Terry, we do the same voices, but you do.
I only have two. Mine and Launchpads.
That's
pretty There was some stuff I didn't even know that you did, and it's always fun. I know almost everything. I just like to think I could pick you out. Like I'll see these movies, like, oh, it's Jim again, and I love how you do the singing flavors too for everybody. That's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, a lot of actors don't sing, a lot of singers don't act, and I can't do either, so they let me do both.
Nice.
Nice.
I just want to say, if you're into voices, listening to them, doing them, whatever it is, there's a thing we call the voice print, which is basically your voice is in there, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't find his voice print in his characters. I can't. I never know it's you. Except there was one that sounded a little bit like Darkwing, and so but I mean, your Tigger.
It was probably Negaduck.
Oh, okay. But that's an amazing talent.
Oh, thanks.
And you completely camouflage your own voice and create a new one.
You should think about doing it for a living.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Take that, Sister Mary Agnes.
Yes, young lady. In the Winnie the Pooh shirt.
Originally, you weren't cast as the voice of Tigger in the Christopher Robin movie, and then they brought you in to save the movie and revoice Tigger. Can you tell us about that and how it made you feel?
Yeah, well, that was weird. Our director, Mark, I was all over Pooh. You know, they knew that, and they had another fellow who shall remain nameless, and he was doing Tigger, and it was so interesting because I'm not sure how it happened, but I don't think he was a big Disney-ophile, and he didn't know who did what and what to do, but everybody knows I'm Pooh, so they go, that was easy. But there was another actor there. He was an on-camera fellow from England, and he was doing Tigger, and it came off sort of like I'll tell you, no risk, kind of a Rodney. And Rodney Dangerfield and Jimmy Durante put together. Okay, well, that's terrible. Which is why I'm not telling you his name, because I just said he was terrible. But my daughter and I went to a screening like about 8 weeks before the movie was done. And on the way home, she goes, Daddy, you have to save Tigger. Okay, and if I'm lying, I'm dying. 2 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's the producer, the director goes, Jim, I was wondering, can we talk about Tigger? And I said, yes. So that's how I got it.
Outstanding. Wow. Did you ever meet or work with Paul Winchell?
Oh yeah, he was a good friend of mine. Yeah, he was a very, very nice man, and I was crazy about him. Paul Winchell. He was originally a ventriloquist, and when I was like 4 or 5 years old, he had a show, the Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney show, and that was his dummy. And Knucklehead Smith was another, and I just thought it was great. And I read his book when I was about 12, How to Be a Ventriloquist. And I thought that was cool as hell. You know, and it shows you, go like this and put your feet together and go, hello. And then I did that, and I could tell what I said, and I ran downstairs and I go, Mama, ventriloquist! You know, and that was like my big accomplishment. But one of my sweetest things was when he got ill, God bless him. I should say this. Paul Winter was like nobody else in the world. He was Knucklehead Smith, Tigger, and he was out there to cure hunger in Africa. And so he went over there, and he had this little mud skipper that he was trying to develop. And they're in the Mississippi River now. And he thought, if we could take them over there, they're not much to look at. They don't taste good, but they're nutritious as can be. And you can grow them in spit and sand. And so he went over there on the good ship Hope, I think it was. And he was quite a scientist and a genius. And he was over there fighting hunger, for crying out loud. Are you hungry?
No. Did he not invent an artificial heart valve?
Oh yeah. He was one of the original, Jarvis sort of.
He
I think
he
it was.
worked with DeBakey.
Yeah.
And made the artificial heart.
I mean, what are you going to
Yes,
do
give
with
him a
that
round
guy?
of applause.
Yeah,
He was so much fun.
and then he ultimately got, like I say, bless his heart, he had a stroke and he was kind of bad, and he got up and he was coming into the booth, and I said, Paul, hey, how are you? And he goes, oh, how you doing, kid? You know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you okay? And because I'm good friends with his daughter as well, April Mitchell, also an actress. And he goes, I'm not doing too good, kid. And I said, well, why? What happened? He goes, well, I had a stroke. And he says, I can see between my hands. And he said, that's all I can see. And I goes, oh my God, well, what now? What are you going to do now? And he says, I'm going to tell you to take care of my little buddy. You shoot me, right? So God bless him. I hope I'm taking care of his little buddy.
I can't think of anyone else doing it. That's for sure. It's outstanding.
Remember the name Paul Winchell. Look him up on YouTube. Oh, phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yes, young man in the Powerline jacket.
Yes. For both of you, do you guys have a favorite, like Darkwing or DuckTales episode that you guys got to work on?
No, I couldn't stand those. It was a pain in the butt.
You had to drive all the way to Burbank.
No, honestly, all of them. I couldn't tell you one.
No, every once in a while somebody will come up and say, remember that episode where you did the time machine thing? And I don't want to say no, which is the honest answer. But I go,
fair enough.
I think I remember that vaguely. But
that was the one they were, you know, they were robbing a bank. Yes, they were robbing a bank.
That's the one.
You know.
And the writing was so good on both of those shows.
Yeah.
It was Disney.
Yeah.
And the animation was Disney. No reference to the later boot up that they did with a new cast.
Yeah.
We shall speak of that. We will not speak of that.
Yeah, I love hearing stories about the legacy, the older voice actors. Do you have any stories of Alan Oppenheimer sharing the booth with him?
Well, I didn't ever share the booth with him. We weren't that close. But no, in this big studio at Disney, and most recording studios, you know, the stage itself they're very similar. The padded walls and folding chairs and microphones. But this was set up like a chamber orchestra. We had our nice comfortable seats and a music stand with the script on it, and then the little green light on top, that made it. And Jeffrey Tambor came with me, a friend of mine, wonderful actor, Jeffrey Tambor. He got a guest shot on the show. And he came in and sat amongst us, Peter Cullen, Frank Welker. And he, after about 15 minutes of work, he turned to me and said, Terry, this is very civilized. I think I'll do this now.
Well, he wasn't in the room with me.
Any questions? Anyone? Blue shirt.
Please share your opinion about voice AI and its potential to replicate voices in future projects.
Bam!
Wow.
Right to it. Go
Well, they should be taken out and flogged. In the public square. Yes. But we do have a quick new rule there. When you ask a question, you have to stand up and tell everybody your favorite dessert. That's the new rule.
What's your favorite dessert, sir?
The dessert at Ohana's.
Outstanding.
What is it?
Bread pudding.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong. You were close.
Very good. Good job.
Did you want to weigh in on AI, or should we just gloss?
I was doing a con recently, and a nice young man came over to me and sat down. I was on a break. He said, "I'm so and so from such and such a company. I'm in charge of their AI department." And I said, "Why are you here?" I don't want to talk to you. I was really rude. I said, "Go away." He said, "No, Terry, calm down. You're protected." I said, "What do you mean I'm protected?" "Well, we get a print of your voice, and then we use that.
Rip it off.
And then we pay you something because it's your voice. And it's not the same money, trust me.
Not the same.
It ain't even close
Yeah,
to it."
he came up to my table, and I said, "Are you?"
Yeah.
You went to sleep? He was tired. Well, thank you. Thank you. You had your hand up. Yes, young lady.
My favorite dessert is
Oh, we don't know your name?
Emma.
What's that?
Emma.
It's Emma.
Nice.
My favorite dessert is probably the I love how you float at Magic Kingdom.
One more time.
I love how you float.
I lava you float at Magic Kingdom. Good choice.
Wow.
Yes.
I love a you dress.
And my question was for you. So your voice for Ray is really good and all that. So how was the casting process like? How did you come up with Ray's voice?
Well, when I was a kid, I was a deckhand on riverboats in New Orleans, and a couple of the boats, I was the only one, even though everybody was from America, Louisiana, I was the only one for whom English was his first language. They all spoke French, Cajun French first, and then they had to learn to speak like that. And
Cleveland, right?
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah. No, well, they were from. Well, I'm Youngstown, Youngstown, Ohio, and I didn't even have to tell them not to clap. Anyway, and what was it, how did I come up with the Cajun thing? I just. Well, he wasn't a real big guy, so I couldn't make him sound like he was super big. But I kind of had the Cajun accent down anyway. And you know, I can tell you this. This is kind of interesting. I went in and auditioned for it. And John Musker and Ron Clements, you know, I'd worked for them before in different movies, and they're very great guys. And they said, "Oh, this is great. You know, I'll tell you what. We're not even going to call you for a callback. We're just going to do these for another couple of weeks, and then when we're down to 2 people, we'll call you back." And I said, "Oh, wow, okay." And so my agent, a couple weeks later, called up and said, "Well, they want you to do a callback." And I said, "Oh, so they're down to 2 people." And I said, "Who's the other one?" And he said, he goes, "Harry Connick Jr." And I went, and I said, "That bum?" And I said, "Jeez, I won't get any platinum records if he leaves the little cartoon man alone." Anyway, I went in there, and apparently he thought he just nailed the hell out of it. And they called me up a couple days later, and they go, "Well, you're going to be Ray." And I go, "Are you sure?" And they said, "Yeah." And I went, "Harry."
So he never runs out of darts. He's always got a full.
As an actor, you have to have an arsenal of darts, just in case. Just in case. Who else? Yes.
Hi, I'm Denise. It's a toss-up between the cannoli or the chocolate gelato over the Italian pavilion.
Drop the gun, take the cannoli.
Yes.
This question's for Jim. When you do escape with both Tigger and Pooh at the same time, do you just do Pooh's voice and then go back and do Tigger, or do you just flip-flop?
Well, I used to do one simultaneously, or back and forth. But I thought, I just every now and then Pooh would start off like, "Well, I tell you, I want to smack one of them." So I said, "Okay, that was bad." So we'd do all Pooh, and then we'd do all Tigger. Yeah. That was a good question. Very
This gentleman had his hand up, and then Pocahontas, and I'll get to this side of the room, I promise. Sir.
My name is Brian. This is for everybody. My favorite dessert is honey, by the way.
Coincidenza? I don't think so.
I had this prep for Jason earlier, but this panel, I can't resist. There's so many projects and events you guys have worked on. Is it hard to remember everything, obviously? Or you kind of have a good track of what you've done? Remembering everything versus...
You mean remembering the voice?
Oh, yeah, everything, yeah.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I've been doing conventions for probably like 10 years now, and I remember. It's just it's weird because certain things hit people and they stick with them, and you don't know what it would be. And these two young kids come up and they're like, I don't know, 15, 16, and they go, "Can you do the voice?" And I went, "Sure." Oh, which one? And they go, "The voice, come on!" And I went, "Would you pass that?" "No." "Gotta go do some project." "No." And then I went through like 4 or 5 voices, and I go, "Okay, you gotta tell me who." And it was from video game Baldur's Gate. Anybody remember? Well, I was Minsk. "Go for the ice, boo!" And it was like a big giant Swedish giant who had a pet hamster. And I mean, it was obviously that would be the one, right? Remember Mailman in that one show that you did that he was only had one line? Right?
Pocahontas.
Hi, my name is Wendy. My favorite dessert is key lime pie.
Mine too.
Yes.
So you said that you met Paul Winchell. Did you meet Sterling Holloway also?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes. Did you ever meet him?
No, I never did. He was the original.
Yeah, he was the original. Pooh and Caw and Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, he was a British. He was a film actor.
Wow.
But he always had that upper register voice.
Oh yeah. But no, it's the only, and I hate myself for not going over and saying something. I don't know what I'd have said. But my wife, many moons ago, we were in Laguna Beach, California, and having lunch, and there was nobody in there. And the waitress walks over to the corner and said, "Well, have we decided what we're going to have for lunch yet?" And you hear this little voice, "I believe I shall have the chowder." And she looks at me and goes, and I walked up and I pretended I was getting something off the table, and there was Sterling, God bless him, and he's sitting there.
Oh my God.
And he's got all this bright white, golden, or hair sticking up all over everywhere. And I went, and never in 1,000 years would I know.
Did
that,
you
like,
have an exchange?
no, that's why I say I wish I went up there, but I don't know what I would have said. "You ready to poo?" "Hi." Yeah, but I wasn't then. No, it was many moons before, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Cool story though.
There was someone on this side. I see Kermit. This young man right here, and then Kermit.
Hi, James. Nice to meet you.
James.
What am I, a potted plant?
James is the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy.
Yeah.
James couldn't be here.
Hell with him. The runner-up.
My favorite dessert is chocolate cake. Do you like chocolate?
Oh.
I like chocolate cake. I actually had a 2-part question. That's okay for Terry as well. I guess I'll go with Jim first. I was curious because this is so hypothetical. Would you ever consider doing like in your podcast, like I guess
no.
like a separate channel where Winnie the Pooh is just like for those people that need like a sound to sleep, like a soothing sound. Because he's like
Winnie the Pooh white noise.
Yeah, white noise. Exactly. Just to calm.
Or meditation. A meditation.
Yeah. Only if I could monetize it.
Record it for calm.
Yeah, just like a little.
Well, you could do it, but it's like, I'm Jim Cummings, and I'm going to soothe you to sleep as the voice with this voice. You didn't have to say it, but you could do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Inhale, think of honey. We're gonna call you, kid.
Writing that down.
You got another question for Mr. Terry?
Yeah. How is it like doing the Stormtrooper in the New Hope, being the just such?
It was about 200 degrees in those suits.
Really? Yeah.
Whoa, you were in the suit?
No, I wasn't in the suit. George Lucas, I had done voices for his first movie, THX 1138.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was on the radio.
Did you work with Robert Duvall ever?
No, and again, I was only there for the post.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
What was your question?
No, just like your experience, like overall. Getting like the. I think it's fair to say you're probably the most iconic Stormtrooper.
Is it? Well, here's what happened. Now that you ask, because George knew of me, and I lived in his. I lived about. See, I teach my students that when you're talking from a stage, you should be able to reach back. So maybe I wasn't. But I got a call from Bunny Alsop, his assistant, and she said, "Can you get 4 other voice actors, men, to come over to George's tomorrow night?"
But they called you anyway.
Yes.
That's a funny comedy humor joke.
So I called 3 other buddies of mine. I should name them. They're no longer with us, but they were great actors. Jerry Walters, Scott Beach, and Morgan Upton, and I. And the 4 of us march into his little big screening room.
With the music.
Oh, no. No, because we had no idea what he wanted. You have to understand, folks, he was George. He was just a little George. He had done a great movie, American Graffiti. I had a part in that. That was one of them. But he wasn't God yet.
Yeah.
Right. And so we walk into the studio, we're laughing and scratching. "Okay, George, what do you got? What's up?" And he said, "Well, I can't tell you a lot about it." "What?" "But it's an outer space movie." With, "Oh, George is doing outer space movie." "Yeah. Can you show us anything?" "No." "Yeah, I can." And the lights go down, and the screen lights up. And you remember that shot of the Death Star? It gets closer and closer and closer and explodes?
Yes.
That's what happened. The house lights went back up, and that was it. That's all we saw. We said, "What the hell is this?" He said, "Look, you're kind of policemen. You're stormtroopers from the future." I said, "Okay, the policemen, that's fine." Brent Bird, the great Academy Award-winning recording engineer, genius, he had his little Nagra tape recorder, and he went around. There were 4 of us, and we had a stack of scripts, and every one of us did all of the scripts. So it was just, when they decided to mix our voices in, it was just random. Let's take this one for that one. And I got to say things like, "There they go, blast them." Thank you. I remember that. That was you? I get asked to do that never, but and so I did the lines with the Tatooine, the cantina at Mos Eisley, and as did everybody else. And 2 years later, I'm in a movie theater in Westwood with a buddy of mine, and the place is packed. It's Star Wars, and nobody still knew what exactly to expect. And out it comes, boom, the music and the giant screen and those brilliant effects, and I heard my voice. I'm the one that says there's not something in the main computer.
Oh, cool.
And Darth Vader chokes me. And I heard my voice a couple other times. He said, "Shut up." So then the Mos Eisley scene comes up, and I see the sand troopers. They're not stormtroopers, right? Sand troopers. And they walk over to the thing that Guinness is sitting at, Obi-Wan is sitting on, and they start talking to each other. And I recognize my voice. And they're going back and forth. These aren't the droids we're looking for. And I jump up like an 11-year-old. "That's me!" Yeah. And my friend left. He just, "I'll see you in the lobby." But could you blame me?
That's amazing.
And you're right, one of the most iconic lines in the history of film. And sheer happenstance.
Sure.
What is this
I'm still earning a living off it. Because it didn't pay much at the time, believe me.
What is the story I heard that you actually coined the term Wookiee?
Okay. I'm sort of in practice because I just told this story to somebody, so I should be able to get through this fairly quickly. I was working on THX 1138. Have you seen that, George's first film?
Sure.
It's a wonderful film.
Robert Duvall?
Yeah, Robert Duvall, yeah. And the soundtrack, the background is all human voices. And it's the controllers, and they're talking constantly. And the only sort of breakaway voice I had was, I was the voice of the confessional. What's wrong? Anybody remember this? No.
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
So,
sure.
George Lucas made another movie?
So anyway, I was in the Army Reserves. Our Army, believe it or not. And it was a weekend, and I was late, and I had my uniform on. And my best friend is still named Bill Wookie. And he was a couple of stripes up top of me. So I said, why don't you come and you're my sergeant. I'll introduce you to George. Who? He's a great guy. You'll meet him. So we walk into Coast Recorders again, and George says, you're late. I said, I know, I'm sorry, but I'm on active duty for the day. And he goes, okay, who's this? And I said, this is my friend, Bill Wookie. And the end. A few years later, I'm opening up Rolling Stone magazine, and they're interviewing him, and he says,
oh boy,
yeah,
cool.
He says, well, I had this one voice actor, Terry McGovern, and he showed up late. And this is all right, with somebody named Wookie. And I said, why are you late? And he said, I ran over my pet Wookie. That was the only thing he got wrong. But the genius of the man, to anything he heard stuck into his brain, and he could call it back up, and he did that. And my friend Bill Wookie, at first, and his kids, the three boys were in school, and they got some razzing about it, and they weren't real happy.
That's great.
But now as adults, they're, yes, we're the original Wookiees. That's the story.
Imagine how cool it would be if you went in with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
If I'd done this, my friend Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, what is this, a Schwarzenegger? Yes.
Yeah, Mel Brooks could have done his movie, I guess, maybe, yeah. Schwarzenegger be with you. We have a couple more minutes left, maybe one or two more questions. Young lady.
Yes. Hi, my name is Sarah. My favorite dessert is ice cream and Jim. It's really nice to meet you. So I have a question for you.
Wait, I'm sorry. It's important that I know this. What is your dessert?
Ice cream.
Oh, ice cream. Okay.
I hear it's good.
I had it once.
Do you mind sharing your experience with being part of the Kingdom Hearts franchise and how they came to approach you about that?
Well, by phone. And yeah, I don't know. They just, it turned out that they were just going to use X amount of Disney characters, and X amount of them were me. I mean, that's, I wish I had a really good story, and boy, I don't. It was a phone call. Yeah. God, that was riveting.
One more question. Kermit, in the back.
So I'm Josh. I was my favorite dessert is pretty much anything. So I'm a fat guy. So, but as Mr. McGovern, as the only Disney character to do a crossover in another show that wasn't.
That sounds a little like cross-dressing. It's called a spin-off. But no, you're right, Josh.
What was it?
I was absolutely dumbstruck. I couldn't believe it.
Was it a different cast environment? Was it different anything?
No, I got a phone call. All of our business is done on the phone. No. What happened was I was in DuckTales, and he was really well received. Darkwing was everybody's goofus. He was the perfect fall guy, the perfect second banana, and I was so lucky to get to play him. And I heard rumors about they're doing a new show, and I kept hearing this name, Jim Cummings, Jim Cummings, Jim Cummings. So who the hell's Jim Cummings?
I get that a lot.
And this was the answer. He's new in town, and he's really good. Okay, so we're all on guard, and I got a phone call. You're going to be in the new show, Darkwing Duck, Jim Cummings. I know that name, and you're going to sort of be like his sidekick, as you were to Scrooge McDuck in DuckTales. And I was absolutely floored. I was so happy and so lucky. And yeah, you're right. I think the only cartoon spin-off character.
Okay, this is going to be a test. I'm going to say something, and you all have to say exactly what comes to mind. DuckTales! Woo! I'm just checking on you. Good job, good job.
Terry,
I love these guys.
Terry, Terry and Jim, if anyone want to get a hold of you on social media, I know you have your podcast. We can talk about that one more time. But
Tuned in with Jim Cummings.
And are you on Jim Cummings? And can people message you on the socials? Do you enjoy that? Do you want the
sure
the follows?
Is there something there?
You're on Jim Cummings on Instagram.
Yeah, there you go.
As soon as you're done, I'm just getting one more question for Mr. McGovern.
I'm on Instabook.
Mr. McGovern, you made a
Yes,
movie.
son.
You were in a movie called J-Men Forever. Could you tell people a little bit about that and how they can watch it for free on Tubi?
Wonderful Fireside Theater.
Yes.
And they were my pals. When I was on the radio, I played them all the time in the morning because you could just weave them in and out.
I think your microphone's dead. Try this one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And you can just, I played them a lot. And they became aware of it, and they came through San Francisco one morning, and all four of them came into the studio. It was joyous. It was a great time. Because I knew all the phrases, you know, the little catchphrases. And what was the question?
J-Man Forever, which is
well, I think it was Phil Proctor and Peter Bergman who came up with the idea. They had a really cool improv thing, I think one weekend night at the Comedy Store, where they would show a movie, and the actors would get up, not having seen the movie before, and the sound was turned off, and we would do the dialogue. Remember Space or something 2000?
Yeah, MST through the Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, and that was the same thing. So Phil called me one day, again on the phone, and said, we got the rights to a really terrible movie, and we were going to do new lines. Does anybody remember What's Up, Tiger Lily? The first time I ever saw it, this was back in the late 60s, Woody Allen got a hold of a bad Japanese action movie, and he put in all new voices, and everything was just nonsensical, crazy, and that kind of inspired the guys from Fireside to do it. And it was called what, J-Men?
J-Men Forever.
It was in outer space, or?
No, what it was a bunch of the old cliffhanger movies.
Oh, the cliffhangers, right.
Re-edited together with an entirely different soundtrack. So you've got this early version of Captain America running around fighting the old clunky robot going, uh-oh, an enraged water heater, huh? You know? And it's PG because it actually pushes the boundaries, and yeah.
I don't do PG. What do you mean PG?
It's not G.
Pretty good.
It's on Tubi. Check it out. It is literally my favorite movie. I had a chance to sit with Terry. You can find it online. Look up J-Men Forever. We had a conversation with it on YouTube.
And what's the name again?
J-Men Forever.
J-Man Forever.
Done by the wonderful Fireside Theater. Yeah, just absolutely.
And you can find it on the dark web near you. Where I don't know where
it's actually available right now on Tubi, which is a free streaming network.
Outstanding. Well, look for that. Please follow and support these actors and follow Jim's podcast. And you guys can go back to your tables. People come up and talk to you then.
That's right.
You can do that, get autographs, ask more questions. In the meantime, give it up for Terry McGovern.